Welcome to another episode of the Bamature Hour. I'm Bamature John. In this episode, we will look at the Georgia game for a third time. We'll talk about how Alabama is going to beat Georgia. But first, we're going to do a basketball update. We have recruiting news, injury news, Bruce Pearl retires, and what does all that mean for Bama? Today is Wednesday, September 25th, or actually it's Thursday, guys. Thursday, September 25th in the year of our Lord. We are joined today by T-Pain and G-Money. And guys, thanks for jumping on here. We now have over 4,500 subscribers to the YouTube channel and growing. We also have people who are accessing the podcast on the various other platforms such as Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and the like. We appreciate all you listeners. Special shout out to a friend of the Bamature Hour, Ty Simpson. Thanks for the likes that you're giving us. Now we got Ty and Keelan who are hearting our posts on the Facebook page. Hey, Ty, you are our guy. We salute you, and we thank you for our service as the Bama quarterback. Go get a big win this weekend. Roll Tide, Ty. All right, guys, let's jump in here. We got a lot to talk about. Let's start with Bruce Pearl retiring. First of all, welcome, G-Money. Welcome, T-Pain. All right, let's talk about Bruce Pearl, and we'll start there.
I think it's pretty interesting timing, don't you think? Don't you think? As far as I'm pretty sure he knew about this all summer, and then waited till school started, and then pulled the plug. I think it kind of put the kids in a bind. So there's really not much potential to transfer, and also very hard to find a new coach in September. So pretty slick on his part, but he was a good coach, man. He was great. He made us better, and it was a good run for them.
G-Money?
I mean, what can you say? He's an outstanding coach. Any basketball coach that takes his shirt off and sits in the student section, I mean, come on, man. Great.
Come on, man.
Yeah. I agree with T-Pain, though. It's kind of like the timing certainly didn't help his son's chance of kind of being elevated. So,
yeah.
Nepotism.
Yeah.
Handing over the reins. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. He wanted his son to be set up to do it. I mean, Bruce Pearl, incredible coach. Very successful at every level. Won at Tennessee, won at Auburn, built him into a championship level program. Didn't cut down the nets, but let's face it, little different bounce here or there, and he'd have one or two natties. He got close at Tennessee to making the Final Four. It really helps Nate Oates' program for him to retire. I just don't think Stephen Pearl is Tony Bennett. I don't know if you guys remember when Dick Bennett was out at Washington State and he retired and handed it over to his son, Tony Bennett. And then Tony Bennett did great at Washington State and then moves over to Virginia and does very well at Virginia. I don't think Stephen Pearl, I mean, prove me wrong. I wish the guy success, but I just don't think Stephen Pearl is going to be able to hold up the standard of Bruce. I think Nate benefits. I think it's going to help us with recruiting. I don't think Auburn's going to be as good. Maybe they'll be pretty good this year, but I don't think he can keep it at that level. That's my take. It's a big benefit to Alabama for Bruce to step down. Like having the rivalry with the Auburn, it's going to stick, but helps Nate.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be around, as you know, kind of like Saban, but even more influential because he's the father. So I think he'll be an integral part of the program, maybe help with recruiting. And of course, he can't do on floor coaching. He won't be there for that. But I don't think there'll be a huge drop off. I mean, I think they'll still be a perennial, tournament team, maybe not Final Four team, but they'll be around.
Looks like we lost G-Money. Hope he can jump back in here. I'm just not. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that he can do it. Typically, when you get that coach in waiting and hand over it, it's not successful. I hope it. I'd like to see him do well. And I don't wish him any ill will, but that's my take on it. Is advantage Nate Oates, advantage Alabama in recruiting. All right, here comes G-Money. Let's get him back in.
I'm not as old as you, John. So when was that Dick Bennett situation?
That was in the 2000s.
Okay.
All right, G Money, you're back. I was just saying, advantage Nate Oates. I think this is a big win for Nate Oates to have Bruce Pearl step down.
I agree. So I didn't hear Stevens' press conference. Apparently, he acquitted himself quite well. But if you look at these coaching handoffs, I mean, I think of a different sport. I think of Shula, Don Shula and Mike Shula. I think of Bobby Bowden, Tommy Bowden. Just seems like the son's never as good as the father when the father has this amazing career. So I think we have reason to suspect he won't fill his dad's shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick was asking me about do you remember the Dick Bennett handoff to Tony Bennett when he was at Washington State? Gary, do you remember that? That was in the mid 2000s or something?
Yeah, that's memorable because it was so unusual, right? That it worked out. But yeah.
Right. It was unusual. It was unusual for it to happen because remember, Bobby Knight handed it to his son, Pat Knight, at Texas Tech. That didn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have a history of working, but obviously Tony Bennett was a really high quality coach, and he was a good chip off the old block and able to hold up the standard and went to Virginia and won. But I think that's the exception to the rule. And typically in this situation where you don't do an all out search and go hire the best coach you can and you just kind of hand it over, it usually doesn't work. So, that's my take on it. So I think number one, that's good for Nate Oates. Two, it'll help us probably get some, Caleb Holt and some of these other recruits that are out there that we're trying to beat Auburn for. I think that's going to help us. So, and Nate's a great recruiter, which to that point, Nate's signed 2 4-star recruits. I don't know if you guys had followed that or not, but we got Chris Washington, who's a 6'8" stretch forward, many compare to Brandon Miller, big shooter, long, lanky, can play on the wing. And then he got another one, Terrace Bowie, who's a 6'5", lengthy, athletic player. So, Nate Oates just keeps rolling. He keeps finding players, getting them signed up. They're buying in. That's great news on that front. Any thoughts, comments on that, and just Nate Oates keeping it rolling?
I
I'll
saw
jump
an
in.
article that talked about the recruiting, and it said, I think like last week, maybe he had 1 recruit and they were in the top 30. Then you had 2 4-stars, and now you're in the top 10 this early in the cycle. So hopefully he'll add another 4-star, maybe a 5-star, and keep us in the top 10.
G Money.
Well, I was going to say, while I still have Marriott Wi-Fi here that's working, Terrace Bowie, he's either top 50 or very close to a top 50 recruit in the country. And Chris Washington, he had offers at Auburn, Illinois. He had several schools pursuing him. I think those are, there's a 4-star and then there's a 4-star, and these are both very sort of upper level 4-star players. So I think they've been good additions.
No doubt. And he's got Caleb Holt and a bunch of others coming in, and so I'm very optimistic that Nate's just going to keep bringing them in and keep this basketball program at a top 10 level, which is where he's got Alabama, which is amazing to think that he's got the Alabama program. You could argue at a higher level than the football program right now. Hopefully this weekend, Alabama's going to go, we're back, baby. And we're back in the top 10, and we're going to go and, take Sherman's march through Georgia and go burn it down and bring back the win. But he's doing a great job. Then there's other news out there. I don't know if you all saw that Jalil Bethea is injured, and he's having to have, I believe it's foot surgery. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sir.
And so I don't know exactly how long he's going to be out, but he's going to be out for the start of the season, which puts a lot of pressure on Philon, Holloway, and Reitzel to carry the load. And then it gives minutes to those 2 freshman guards coming in as well to show what they can do. Because Bethea was a high-level 5-star guy that I think we're going to count on possibly starting. So, it just adds, kind of like Youngblood was hurt and then Reitzel got hurt last year. I hope Reitzel's healthy and ready to go because we're going to need him. But it just adds a little pressure at the beginning of the season for those other guards to step up and do what they need to do. Thoughts on Bethea's injury?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I mean, I think we still have the talent to really go deep and make the tournament, go deep in the tournament. My question is, who's gonna be the go-to guy when we need it, like Mark Sears? And, I love Latrell Wrightsell. And, it was a huge loss when he got injured last year. He's kind of got that it factor. LeBaron coming back, that was huge news. Aiden Holloway at times, he's off the charts good. But I think somebody has to step up when we have who gets the ball with 3.7 seconds left. We're down by one. We're inbounding. Mark was that guy for us. Somebody's going to step up, and I don't think it's clear who it's going to be, but I have confidence somebody will.
I think Fileline will do it. I mean, that's my vote at least. I hope he's grown. He's only a sophomore, and wasn't he young also on top of being a freshman? Wasn't he 17? I think maybe not, but
You're confusing
I
him
think
with Ryan
Fileline.
Williams.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. 17. Yeah, they told us that like 20 times, didn't they, last year? Maybe more. But
Yeah, I think it's going to be great to see who is that go-to player. But I have heard Oates talk about he likes the shooting all around the team, that we're going to put out a bunch of shooters on the floor and not have, people like some of our big men last year who couldn't even hardly make a 5-foot hook shot, let alone any kind of 15-foot mid-range game. So I think we're going to have a bunch of shooters on the floor. I think it's going to be a high-level shooting team from both mid-range and from three. But yeah, who's the go-to guy going to be? And I really thought Bethea might be one of those guys. So I hope Wrightsell's healthy because I love the way he played. Now, I thought it was a big loss when we didn't have him in the tournament because we needed that guy that could get a bucket and you could count on, and you couldn't leave him open, and that would open things up a lot. So I thought it was a big loss there. All right, any other comments on basketball before we turn back to football?
Nah.
All right.
Good.
All right, guys. Football news. Our annual football opponents have been named. Not surprising, it's Auburn. Not surprising, it's Tennessee. And I'm very glad to see they named Mississippi State as our third annual opponent. I think that's big for us to have those three instead of LSU, instead of Mississippi State. All right, G-Money, thoughts on our three annual opponents going forward?
I'm a little crushed. I really am. I love the LSU rivalry. This will be the first time in 27 that we haven't played them in a year since 1963. And I mean, you think about, Eddie Lacy, Julio, Sean Alexander. I mean, we've had TJ Yeldon. We've had so many epic games. I'm naming the ones we've won, right? But I mean, they're just burned into our memory. The game of the century where we lost 9-6, I was at that game. It's been such a wonderful rivalry. So really on one level, it kind of makes me sad that we're not going to play them. I wouldn't mind plug and playing them instead of Mississippi State, but I understand, compromises are necessary.
All
Yeah,
right.
that game. Remember that game? Reuben Foster laid Leonard Fournette out. That was awesome. Yeah, I went to the game. I think it was I was at the Sean Alexander game. He went crazy down there in Baton Rouge.
Went crazy.
Yeah, I'll miss that game a lot. And I don't have a lot of memories like that with Mississippi State.
Here are my memories of Mississippi State. W's.
That's right.
W's and cowbells that never rang, right?
W's, and we need a break because it really would have been unfair to have somebody like Tennessee getting Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and us, and us being stuck with LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn. So, and Mississippi State is the closest school to Alabama, and there is a long history of playing each other. Even if Mississippi State has a very poor record against Alabama, I'm happy about that because every game in the SEC is tough. So you need a little bit of a break here and there, considering particularly when you only get 4 home games into a season and have to go on the road 5 times. It's nice to have Mississippi State on that schedule every year. And I just think at the end of the day, they can't keep up with Alabama. And it's nice to know that you've got one of the teams that's unlikely to be at the top of the heap every year because Auburn's always tough when we go there and Tennessee's good. So I like it from that fact.
John, did you say Tennessee has Kentucky and Vanderbilt as 2 of their teams?
I believe that's correct.
That's a good draw.
It is a good draw. So,
wow.
Yeah. All right. Next topic, big injury news in the SEC. John Mateer's out for at least a month, hand injury.
Yeah.
Can we make it 2 months?
I know.
And they don't know exactly how long. I mean, he may be just coming back for the Alabama game. We don't know. But I think number one, and this doesn't matter, but Mateer's not winning the Heisman. I think he was definitely, one of the 3 or 4 guys in contention for it. He's not winning the Heisman. But more importantly, Oklahoma, unless their backup quarterback, who proved inept last year, has taken a big leap forward, and they're going to take some L's in the next month. And they're probably going to be out of playoff contention and only be in a spoiler role when they come here. So to me, that makes that Oklahoma game easier for us as a home game versus Mateer coming in here, possibly with an undefeated team, battling us for a playoff spot and him battling for a Heisman. And he may be rusty. You sit out for a month, let that hand heal. I hate to see it, but it's a break for Alabama.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to point that out. By the way, Heisman odds with Mateer out of here, and just get your, and I can flash this up on the screen if you guys want to see it. But Fernando, and this is based on, I think it's based on FanDuel. Fernando Mendoza from Indiana is now top of the heap for the Heisman. Carson Beck is in second with the second shortest odds. Dante Moore of Oregon, Jeremiah Smith, Marcel Reed, and Gunnar Stockton. So that's kind of funny that those are the top 6 guys. Any thoughts on the Heisman race and the odds there? And I'm happy to read that list back if you guys want me to read it back to you.
I would make a quick comment. That puts a lot of pressure on Indiana to win because other than Robert Griffith III, if you have more than 2 losses, you're not gonna get the Heisman. So that's kind of interesting.
Indiana does have a cupcake schedule. They probably only have 3 hard games on their schedule. So if they're able to win this weekend, and they could go 10-2, but the strength of schedule could be weak because they play a lot of the lower half of the Big Ten. So.
This weekend, if Ty goes like 26 for 30 again, we win, he'll be on that list next week.
Absolutely. And I think he's in the next 6 on the list, but he wasn't in the top 6, so I only pulled the top. And I just don't see Gunnar staying in there. I mean, I think he's a good college quarterback, but he's not Heisman caliber. Hopefully we prove that this weekend, that he's not of Heisman caliber, and we get after it. But just thought that was interesting. Any other comments on the Heisman race?
Not really.
All right. This is interesting. So here are the top 8 teams for the Natty, the odds for the Natty. Ohio State's at 1. They have the shortest odds. Penn State's at 2. Oregon's at 3. And that's funny that it's all the Big Ten teams in the top 3. Georgia's at 4. Texas is still at 5, which the way they've been playing, I'm kind of surprised they still have those short odds. Alabama's number 6. LSU 7 and Miami 8. So even though we lost to Florida State, the odds makers still have us in the top 6.
I'll jump in here. So I heard something on sports radio today that crystallizes the importance of this game this weekend. If we lose the game to Georgia, our percentage chance of making the playoffs is around 30%. If we win it, it's around 65. I mean, we all know it's a huge game, but that kind of tells you a little bit. We've seen things gelling, so I think 6 is about where we should be in terms of the odds.
We got a great team, guys. We got a great roster. We got a great team. I still have my questions about winning big games on the road. I have my questions about our coaches making in-game adjustments. Could they pull off what Kirby pulled off at UT and get in a hole and make adjustments and keep fighting and pull out a tough game that really you shouldn't win? That, let's face it, Georgia should have lost that game. I mean, kudos to them. They fought to the end. They pulled it out, but they should have lost that game. So kudos to Georgia. Can DeBoer pull those rabbits out of his hat on the road? And I'm not convinced he can do that. I want him to prove me wrong, but I've got those concerns. But yeah, we're in control of our own destiny. I think if we lose to Georgia, we're still in control of our own destiny, but the margin is so thin if we lose, guys. Ugh.
We got a tough
Yeah, I mean,
schedule.
I trust our players more than I trust our coaches at this point. So I think if the coaches put our players in good positions this weekend, I think we have a great chance to pull the win out of there. And if our coaches show up every week, I think our players will do great. And I think we may, maybe lose one more if the coaches put a great game plan every week. And like you said, John, can they make adjustments like this weekend? If Georgia's down at halftime, they're not going away. They're going to be there in the second half, and they'll make adjustments. I'm not so sure we can yet. They haven't shown us that they can do that. So I just want to see that these last 2 weeks are not just a product of being at home and the coaches being embarrassed. I want to see it happen, carry over into Georgia. I mean, we don't have to necessarily win this game, in my opinion, to make the playoff. But if we fight hard and play hard and coach hard and we barely lose, then I think we're going into the playoffs.
I'm just scared we can't win 8 in a row if we lose this game, and I still think we got to go 10-2 to make it, unless a lot of teams get 3 losses. That's my biggest concern. Is I think 10-2 is the magic number. I think 9-3. I'm just really worried that we won't get the strength of schedule benefit. I hope I'm wrong.
Right now we're at number 5 strength of schedule in the country. So it depends on who you lose to, but I think a 9-3 Alabama team with the 5th hardest schedule will go.
I'm just afraid they'll take Indiana at 10-2 with the weaker schedule versus Alabama at 9-3, and that's my concern.
Yeah.
Well, our program still has juice, right? I mean, we're looked at as one of the top programs, and we should be looked at as one of the top programs. And when the committee meets, those things kind of matter.
And they really wanted to take us last year, I fully believe, but was it SMU that got in? And they shouldn't have been there.
SMU was getting blown out, and then they somehow made it close against Clemson. And I believe had Clemson held on to a 3-touchdown lead and won it by 3, maybe we snuck in. But then they gave SMU the benefit of the doubt because they got it to a 3-point margin at the end somehow. And of course, Clemson's a whole nother story. Clemson is the Florida State from last year. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
I mean, just nosedive. What happened?
I don't know. It's crazy.
I'm shocked. Have they packed it in for the season? Are they going to run off 8 or 9 in a row? Are they going to lose to North Carolina and Belichick? I mean, what the heck? It's crazy.
Hey, y'all remember several years ago? I know you'll remember the year. I don't remember the year, but I was downtown at Midtown. There's a BCS, and they had a selection show, and Alabama and LSU got 1 and 2, and everyone was up in arms about it. But my point in this is that it's sad that we're thinking, hey, could a 9-3 Alabama team get in this 12-team playoff? I really think with the AI and the old BCS system, there should be a way to do it without having these committees screw it up. I mean, I just think, and last year and this year, a 9-3 Alabama team deserves to be in over 10-2 Indiana. You and I know that, and so would the computers, I believe. But as long as we have people doing it, there are always biases in there in the room, and it's just frustrating to me.
Well, self-driving Teslas are still wrecking, so I'm not sure I want to leave the election committee up there.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I don't love it that they're wrecking, but I do love the analogy.
Thank you.
let's put it that way. I love the analogy. So, all right. Well, yeah, we're going to do an update every week and look at the odds for the Heisman, look at the odds for the Natties, see how Bama's tracking. I want Bama to get somehow. I don't care if they win by 1 point. I don't care if we look at let's get out of there with the win so we're still in control of our own destiny, because we come out of there with the loss. Even though I think Florida State and Miami are both going to make this playoffs. I really do. I think one of them's going to go undefeated. The other one's going to have 1 loss, or maybe they both have 1 loss, and one of them beats them in the regular season. They go back to ACC championship, have a rematch, the other one. However that plays out, I think they're going to be in. So I think if we lose 3 games, there are going to be to probably top 15 teams and maybe to top 10 teams. But I'm just scared of a 9-3 and us getting hosed by the committee. So that's – all right, let's talk about injuries. You got Jamarian Latham with the neck injury. He's out. Jeremiah Beeman, he's out for the year. Jaden Roberts is going to play, as far as I know. That he's cleared concussion protocol, so he's back. And then Jam and Tim Keenan are back. So that's the injury updates I know about. You guys know of anything else?
Just the report on Latham's injury. I was at a high school game when my son was playing, and a kid got a neck stinger, and they called the game. He didn't move, and I remember reading the early reports on that. I was really concerned. Looks like he's going to be, doing okay or whatever, but just kind of a scary moment.
Rick, thoughts on that with the neck injury and all that?
I haven't heard more than what y'all said here. So yeah, it's very scary when they're taking you straight to UAB. But I have not heard one update since then, other than what you said, that he's moving and feeling everything, has no deficits, sensory or motor deficits. So hopefully he'll be fine, but I'm sure they're going to take every precaution there is.
All right. Let's jump into some games this weekend, and then we'll jump into the Georgia games. So first thing that I want to jump into, so big games this weekend. We got Florida State at Virginia. It's a big game because Florida State's probably going to blow out Virginia. They're probably going to hang 50 or something on them. Any thoughts on Florida State, Virginia?
Well, I don't think it's a trap game. I think they'll blow them out. But a week from Saturday, like you're alluding to, John, FSU has to go to Miami. That's going to be a monster game. So hopefully they don't relax and they stay focused this weekend against an inferior opponent.
I'm rooting for Florida State to hang 50 on them, win big, make that Florida State loss look like it's not a big deal, that Florida State's just really good, not that Alabama we did lay an egg, let's face it.
We did.
But that they're a really good team that we lost to, and not the 2-10 team that Florida State was. Clemson's the 2-10 team this year, let's face it. But so that was game number one.
Sorry, I think we made Florida State look good. I think they're a good team. We definitely made them look better than they are. I think the way the team's playing now, I think we beat them 8 out of 10 times, and maybe more. But yeah, I'm with you. I hope they just dominate the rest of their schedule, and that'll make us look great. Not look so bad. We'll see.
Well, if we played them again, would our coaches coach better, or would they coach like they did in that game? Because I still hang that loss on poor coaching. I was just frustrated by that, but I plant my flag on that it was bad coaching.
Well, the coaches weren't playing offensive line that game, though.
That's right.
That was tough. That was a tough game.
That's true.
But we abandoned running the ball in the first quarter, and I blame that on Grubb. We had plenty of opportunities to get 3 to 8 yards on running and short passes, and I don't know what Grubb was doing. He did a great job in the next 2 games of doing that, so hopefully they've learned their lessons.
Yeah.
All right, next game, TCU, Arizona State. That's a big game. TCU undefeated. Arizona State has 1 loss to Mississippi State.
Wow.
My only thought on this, it's a Big 12 elimination game. Whoever loses this they're not going to the playoffs.
That sounds right.
Next game, Notre Dame at Arkansas. Upset special?
I would love Arkansas to beat Notre Dame and them be done.
That would be huge. We need USC or Arkansas or both of them to put a stake in Notre Dame's heart, and let's just write them off. That would help Alabama a lot to put them out of, because it would be a travesty if Notre Dame goes 10-2 and their only big win is over USC, and then they give them a spot over our 9-3 Alabama. That would burn me up, but it probably would happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, they seem to get the benefit of the doubt some years when it comes to, seeding or whether they make the playoffs or whatever. But, Arkansas can do us all a favor.
Yes. a 1-3 Notre Dame, and we can put them off and cast them aside like we have Oklahoma and Clemson and some of these other teams. So, all right, next big game, USC at Illinois. 4-0 USC, 3-1 Illinois. Illinois is coming off an absolute beatdown by Indiana. Thoughts on USC Illinois?
I hate to say this, but it's just hard to think of Illinois as a top 25 team. Yeah. Maybe that's name brand bias in favor of USC, but I don't really know that much about Illinois other than the beatdown. So I don't know what the line is on the game. I would think USC takes that.
USC's favored by 6.5. So, and I agree with you. I think Illinois' got that Brett Bielema cachet, but Indiana embarrassed them, so I think they're exposed. USC just needs to go ahead and beat Illinois, and we can remove them as a quality team, and then see where USC goes from here. But USC seems to be pretty good, so we'll see on that one. Next game, Georgia Tech, 4-0 Georgia Tech at Wake Forest.
14-point favorite. I like the Yellow Jackets there.
Are we buying them as a legitimate playoff contender, Georgia Tech?
I'm not buying them yet. No.
Let's let them play Miami.
Florida State.
Right.
Or Florida State, right?
Yeah.
And I think winning the way they do, putting your quarterback at risk, Haynes King, can he stay healthy through 12 games? I think it's going to be hard. If they lose him, that's going to diminish them. So I think that's the other risk they have is the way they play and the way they put him at risk. Kind of like Vanderbilt, the next team we'll talk about. But I think Georgia Tech, and they got to play Georgia. And that's going to be a huge game. That Georgia Tech game is going to be a huge game. So they're going to take a loss at some point to one of the 3 or 4 ACC teams that are good. I don't think they can. I don't know. Maybe they can go 10-2 just because the ACC is weak, but still, I think FSU and Miami are the cream of the crop there, and nobody else is getting in. And I would be mad if they got in at 10-2. And Alabama gets left out at 9-3. That would pain me greatly. So Georgia needs to beat them. We need to beat Georgia, and then Georgia needs to knock off Georgia Tech, and we can remove them from the chessboard as well. All right, next game is 3-1 Utah State at Vanderbilt. Vandy's favored by 22.5. How funny is that?
Crazy. It's crazy seeing that number 18 next to their name. That's crazy.
They got a scheme. They got a quarterback. They're not a bad team. They're not a bad team.
They've upgraded their defense too, so they use the portal to their benefit, and they've been a team that's used the portal and built a strong team. Could be 5-0 Vanderbilt coming to play 4-1 Alabama because we're going to win, or I guess it'd be 3-1, right? Because we're only 2-1. Yeah.
Right.
So that could be a huge game in 2 weeks. So it's going to be a big game anyway, because if we're only 2-2, then we got no margin for error. If we come in here 2-2, it's going to be a huge game for us anyway. But a 3-1 versus a 5-0 Vanderbilt, that'd be quite the matchup.
I got a newsflash on that though. Even if we beat Georgia, College Game Day is not going to be in Tuscaloosa because they're going to be in Miami.
Right. You're right.
Hey, John, in my opinion, next Saturday when Vanderbilt comes here, that is Judgment Day for Kane Womack.
Yes.
Have you learned? You've had a year. You saw several running quarterbacks after him last year. You've seen another one this year in week 1. What have you learned? Can we stop this offense? If we can't, I think it's bad news for him.
Well, and he's got Judgment Day tomorrow too, because Gunner is a dual threat quarterback. If I'm Georgia, we'll talk about this more when we preview Georgia, Alabama, but I'm looking at everything that's been successful against this Kane Warnock defense, and I'm going to give Alabama a whole bunch of doses of triple option, RPO, reverses, wheel route passes, all that stuff that his defense has gotten burned by. What Jackson Arnold did, what Diego Pavia did, what Thomas Castellanos, and I'm going to say, let's see if you learned your lessons. Otherwise, why do you need to do anything else?
Right. I just don't think they're going to use Gunner the way Vanderbilt uses Pavia or Florida State used their quarterback. I think Bobo. I just don't think he's going to do all that, even though he should. I just think he's going to try to do his normal offense. But we'll see.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I hope you're right, because I like our chances more against Bobo doing his normal offense.
Me too.
Than doing that to us. So next game, Auburn a mad as Hornet Auburn has to go to Texas A&M. Boy, that's a tough game to have to play. 2 games in a row, go to Norman, and then have to go to College Station. That's a huge game for both of them.
Give me the Aggies.
I agree. Gary?
I think the Aggies are going to pull this one off, but I think it'll be close.
If Jackson Arnold can actually make some downfield throws, then Auburn can score. He missed 2 wide open Cam Coleman touchdowns, so that was brutal. And then of course the refereeing's a whole nother issue. That's an embarrassment about that refereeing last week, and I really feel bad for Auburn on that. That was not good. But interestingly enough, Auburn's really they're in a hole if they lose this game. They're in a hole, and to be kind of like if Alabama, they'll be in a similar situation to Alabama, that's still in control of their own destiny, but they got to run the tables. So it's a tough deal. Texas A&M barely beats Notre Dame, but they won, which is what I want to do. Somehow let's pull it out at Georgia. Let's figure out how to steal one. All right, next game, LSU Ole Miss. I'm in a quandary on this game. LSU at Ole Miss.
Who's dating Lane Kiffin's daughter?
Wheat Wicks. Have you guys watched the Netflix Any Given Saturday special?
No, I'm going to watch it though.
Yeah, good? Wheat Wicks is featured in there along with Nussmeier for LSU when they do the LSU stuff. So Wheat Wicks is one of the key guys that you get to know, but they don't show him with Kiffin's daughter. But yes.
He's a very legitimate football player. If you watch what he does on the field, he's got a nose for the ball. He's tough as nails. He reminds me of, and he's been in the league now a couple of years, and I don't remember his name, the Clemson linebacker who was so good and tough that kind of knocked a couple of our players out. He's just a really good player. And then, Lane's daughter announcing to the world that she's dating him right before the games. Good drama.
It is good drama. And it's funny because it's kind of good on good versus bad on bad, because Ole Miss's offense is very high-powered. LSU's defense has been really good, but, the old Pete Golding defense has been kind of suspect, and LSU's offense hasn't lived up to the billing. So I guess because Ole Miss is at home, you would think Ole Miss can maybe eke it out. But to me, that's a toss-up game. I wouldn't want to lay any money on that.
Well, I think I'm not buying LSU at number 4 in the country. They beat Clemson, who we found out is not that good, right?
Right.
And they beat a 1-3 Florida team, 20-10, right?
Yeah.
So why are they number 4 in the country? I don't get it. So I think Ole Miss gets this game at home. And Ole Miss has, I'm reviewing here myself, Ole Miss beat Kentucky at Kentucky. And that's a good win. Kentucky's hard to play up there at the Commonwealth Stadium. And then they beat Arkansas. Okay. So I like Ole Miss at home. I think Lane Kiffin's going to pull this one out.
I couldn't agree more with Dr. T on this one.
T-Pain.
T-Pain. And by the way, I believe it's T-Pain's 39th birthday today. Is that true?
Yesterday, baby.
Yesterday.
They laid $1 short.
Well,
right.
Bama John has offered to do a Marilyn Monroe serenade to you. Happy birthday, Mr. President.
That's right.
I don't think so.
I'd pay to see it.
I'm glad.
Yeah, you don't want to see that show. It's horrifying.
T-Pain.
That would be bringing the pain right there, baby.
It would be. Hey, by the way, a little side note. I felt bad, Gary and John, having all those trophies behind me, a couple weeks ago. Yeah. But I just wanted you to see one of them close up.
I believe your daughter won that one, Rick.
Oh, that's right. Oh man, that's a good one.
She carried you, huh?
That's right. That's right. Oh man.
All right, next game on the schedule. This is going to be an interesting one. Ohio State has to go out to the Seattle area to play Washington. Both undefeated.
Ohio State's too good. I To me, that one, not sure what the line is, but I don't think
Eight and a
that.
half. It's an 8.5 line.
Give me 8.5 Buckeyes.
Yeah, same.
Well, and that's going to be a good prove it game. Go out there and get a big win on the road. Have to go to the left coast, pull out a win. So that's going to be interesting. All right, next game: Indiana at Iowa.
I don't know much about
Fifth.
Iowa. I haven't seen them play this year.
Iowa has a pathetic offense and a good defense. That's the way I would describe them.
That's
Indiana.
Iowa every single year. I mean, they can't score points, but they can prevent you from scoring. Indiana's got a relatively high-powered offense. This to be a snooze fest. Big win for Indiana there. Easy one.
Yeah, I think if Indiana can go in there and win by 3 touchdowns, they can prove they're deserving of that high ranking and move up. And so they just need to go beat up on the little guys. So Iowa may be the little guy at this point. I'm going to be interested to just watch that and see, is it close, or does Indiana roll through them like they did Illinois? Next game, which I think could be sneaky interesting, is Tennessee at Mississippi State.
Listen, watch out for the Bulldogs here, y'all. I'm telling you, man, they're playing with, as y'all know, it's hard to play there, and they haven't been 4-0 in a long time. So that crowd's going to be into it. Do you hear me? Into it. I don't think Tennessee's great. So I think it's going to be close.
So you're saying we need more cowbells?
I'm saying we need more cowbells. Guys, listen. I put my pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah, I don't know that Mississippi State's going to slow down that offense. Though Tennessee, they had almost 500 yards against Georgia. Well, I'm not saying Georgia has an elite defense this year, but that's going to be tough. I agree that the fans, Mississippi State fans, are going to be going wild. They're going to have the cowbells out. Maybe it'll be interesting for a half. Tennessee's a much better team in my estimation. And, if they put up 45 points, Mississippi State's not going to be able to hang with that.
I am curious to see if Tennessee can go on the road and play like they did against Georgia at home. And how much of the dichotomy, because I'm kind of hoping that Tennessee will struggle on the road, so we know that, hey, when they go on the road, they struggle, so when they come down here, we can be confident in beating them down. So I'm hoping we'll see a struggle win out of Tennessee and not a beat down, but I'm going to be paying attention to that one.
And John, you're right. According to the record here on they haven't been on the road yet this year. They were at home with Syracuse, at home, Eastern Tennessee at home against Georgia, and at home against UAB. So this is their first road game, so we'll find out.
Yeah, and they went to Arkansas last year and lost.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. So, and Mississippi State was embarrassed last year, and they've got their quarterback. He's healthy. They're out for some blood. So, and I was shocked that they beat Arizona State at home, and maybe they can give Tennessee a really good game. All right, next game, Arizona at Ohio State. They're both undefeated. I don't believe in either one of these teams. To me, the loser's eliminated from playoff contention. That's my thought. Any thoughts on Arizona, Iowa State?
I've got no insight on this one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next game on my little list I'm going to skip because that's the one we're going to focus on here in a minute, which is Alabama, Georgia. Oregon at Penn State. You guys buying Penn State? You buying Oregon? Which one do you think? What are you thinking there?
I think Oregon's going to pull off the win. So when Alabama played Penn State several years ago, it was a whiteout game, and I was up at that game. And that is a cool stadium. It's huge. The fans are rabid. All of that. But I think Oregon's got a really good team this year, and I know they're not as highly ranked as Penn State, but I think Oregon's sneaky good, and I think they're going to pull off a really close win.
What do you think, Rick?
I don't know. I'd probably go with the Nittany Lions on this one, but I haven't watched Oregon play much, so I'm just going with the home team there.
I think I'm with Gary in that I think Oregon's going to pull out the win. James Franklin's got a really bad record against top 10 teams, and when it's equal forces against equal forces. It's kind of like Robert E. Lee against General Hooker in the Civil War. Franklin tends to get routed, and I think Oregon's going to figure out a way to win, but I'm going to be watching. I'll have it on my corner TV next to the Alabama-Georgia game, and I'll be looking over there at commercial breaks and stuff. But
John,
I think
if
they're both going to make the playoffs, though. I think both of these teams are getting in the playoffs.
And that was what you just said factored into my prediction. If I heard it right, I think Franklin is 5-15 or 5-20 against top 10 teams. I mean, it's not a good record. No way to sugarcoat it.
And one is like 1-17 against top 5 teams. And I think Oregon's really a top 5. I think they're better than LSU. LSU shouldn't be in the top 5, but.
Well, then after hearing all the evidence, I'm changing my verdict. I'm going with Oregon.
Boom.
Next time, John, you got to lead with that kind of stuff before I start guessing.
We're educating you, Rick. We're educating you. All right, this game's going to be an absolute beatdown. UMass is at Missouri.
44-point favorite. I'm taking the Tigers.
yeah, 44.5. It's crazy. I'm not buying Missouri. South Carolina gave them a good game. I think we can go to Missouri and win. So I'm putting that in the win column for Alabama. I'm not going to count the chickens before they hatch, but I think we can do it. Last game that I'm going to bring up before we move on to the main attraction is BYU Colorado. BYU's ranked 25. They're undefeated, but I'm not buying BYU. But I'm sure they'll beat Colorado.
Yeah, give me the Mormons.
The Stormin' Mormons.
Same here.
All right, let's jump into the game of the night, the one everybody's tuning in to hear us talk about. Georgia, Alabama. Okay, I've written down some factors and keys here. Number one, how much does this home field advantage for Georgia mean? What do you think, guys?
All good things must end. I can tell you that. I mean, Bama over the years, I think we have a top 5 homes, streak or whatever going. But I mean, there's this 33.
33, yeah.
That's insane. I mean, it's time for a reversion to the mean.
Hey, in that 33 game streak, we weren't in that streak, were we?
No.
Talking about.
Yeah. I do think and this gets into my next point, which is DeBoer's road record. Something's going to have to give here. Either DeBoer is going to continue that streak of poor road performances in the SEC, or Kirby's going to have to take a loss at home. I think it's a big fact. I think both of those are big factors, and I put that in Georgia's column, both that they're getting to play at home and that DeBoer has been poor on the road in big games against dual threat quarterbacks. I'm throwing that caveat in there about dual threat quarterbacks because when we beat LSU, Nussmeier was not mobile and we wreaked havoc on him because he couldn't run away from us. But I give both of those factors, I give that a big check mark for Georgia. I'm just hoping we can overcome it. And so those things concern me. And my next point, if you guys have anything else to add about the home field advantage and DeBoer's poor road record.
I would add one thing. So, trivia question. What is Kalen DeBoer's record against Lincoln Riley, Steve Sarkisian, Kirby Smart, and Dan Lanning at Oregon? Anyone venture
6-1.
Undefeated?
He's 8-0. Last year, we can name 2 SEC road losses that we had because of our quarterback making very bad mistakes. We have a reliable, smart, he's making good decisions, no turnovers. That can be the difference in the game. So I think yes, I take nothing away from Kirby Smart. He's a great coach. But I think some of the knocks on DeBoer from last year really can be chalked up to some turnovers and some bad decisions from our quarterback play. So I'm gonna call those not even, but a lot more even than you might think at first blush.
Yeah, and I think also John and G Money, I agree with Gary. I think last year it counts. Of course, it counts, but it was his first year here. He had a brand new OC with a quarterback who was a very difficult quarterback to coordinate for. So I think it was terrible. We had Nick Sheridan, who was learning the position of coordinator, with a quarterback who you really needed like Lane Kiffin for, or Sarkisian. And so it was really a bad combination. So I agree with Gary. I think that a couple of those losses are on that factor, but we'll know something soon because we're going on the road to Georgia, on the road to Missouri, on the road to South Carolina, on the road to Auburn. So if this year pans out like it did last year, then yeah, DeBoer just can't coach on the road for whatever reason. But I think I'm with Gary. I think we're going to surprise everybody, and the team's going to be ready this weekend, and Ty Simpson will be a large part of it.
Well, there's
So-
some late breaking news that really favors us too. DeBoer said today he's going to wear the black hoodie. It's huge.
It's huge.
The DeBoer Reaper is coming.
That's right.
So, guys, so you think DeBoer learned his lesson at FSU? Because FSU, to me, continued that streak of poor performances in big games on the road. So if we're going to reverse that, he has to have learned his lessons about how to adjust, about how to make in-game adjustments, how to get them ready, how to scheme them up, and Kane Womack's got to have learned his lessons. And
100%.
Ryan Grubb, I have more faith in Ryan Grubb than I do in Kane. I just do. But those guys have to have learned their lessons too, because that FSU game, every time I go back and look at it, I'm like, coaching. We were in bad schemes that hung our players out to dry. Now, did they make good effort when they were hung out to dry? No, but we really didn't. We put ourselves in bad positions due to coaching. So I want to see that change, and it'd be huge to go up there and get a win and show that he can do that. But I'm taking a wait and see approach before I say he's learned his lessons. But he wants to win.
Yeah, two things. I think Ty Simpson is growing so much every week. It's his fourth game.
Friend of the
Right.
show. We love Ty.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so Ty, I mean, yeah, Ty, friend of the show, you're playing great, and every week he's getting better and better. So I think this tomorrow, Saturday, he'll be even a better player than he was 2 weeks ago. Secondly, I think we have learned, hey, let's quit experimenting with Ryan Williams. He's not a slot guy. He's a receiver wide out. So hopefully, I think Ryan Grubbs is getting more familiar with what he has and who he has and what the strengths are. And then also you add in Jim Miller back, just a stable person in the backfield. I think I'm expecting a difference this time on the road.
Well, and I'll mention this. So, and this does mean something, and I hope I'm not jinxing Ty, but he just scored a Gatorade deal. And, you know, the people in the marketing departments of these big companies are doing deep analytics. And of course, he's a high integrity guy. That helps a lot too. I think he's got a promising future ahead of him this season. And I expect big things from him Saturday.
Let me ask you this, guys. Of SEC quarterbacks, would you trade Ty for any other SEC quarterback at this point?
Well, one that's getting surgery, maybe. I'm kidding, but Mateers, I mean, he's projected as the number one pick in the NFL before he got hurt, and he may still be. I don't know, to lead this team with the cast of players we have, with our coaching staff. I don't think I'd trade Ty for anyone in the SEC right now. I'm so glad he's our leader right now.
I love having him on the team, and I agree with you, Gary. Rick, thoughts about Ty versus anybody else in the SEC?
I mean, I haven't really seen the A&M quarterback. I'm just thinking out loud. I haven't seen Missouri's quarterback. The only guy I might trade him for is our number 3. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I think I love Ty. I think he's perfect for this offense where you have a lot of weapons and hey, run the offense, Ty. We're not asking you to do anything great. And Ty has escapability. He can run. So I can't think of anybody I'd want over Ty right now.
And he's got a really accurate arm. He's accurate, guys. He can put the ball as long as he gets his feet set. He can put the ball where he wants to. I'm impressed. So
He's he's very surgical.
Ty is our guy, and I'm sticking to that.
Yeah.
All right, next point, head coaching advantage. Who do you give the head coaching advantage? And if you had to pick one of the two to lead your team, which one would you pick?
Kirby has two of these, doesn't he?
He does.
Two natties. So I have to say Kirby.
I'd have to say if the head coach is influencing the defensive side of the ball, I would definitely take Kirby. I think you got to give the edge to. I think you got to give the edge to Kirby.
I agree with that. All right, now here's where I think we have a distinct advantage: offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Give me Ryan Grubb, baby. I'm not a Bobo fan. I don't think he's terrible, but I think Grubb is better. And if he learned his lessons at FSU, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Wisconsin play calling was a master class. He played to our strengths. What he asked Ty to do is in Ty's wheelhouse. It was in our playmakers' wheelhouses. And, I look at that and I say, okay, Georgia's got a better defense than Wisconsin. I don't think there's any question about it. I don't think there's an elite this year as they have been in some prior years. But I like our advantage on OC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is DC.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Yep, and I agree with that as well, that Georgia, because you got Kirby Smart effectively the DC.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think they have. I think when we talk about the talent, and we're going to talk about this now, Georgia roster versus Bama roster, who has more talent?
Bama.
I think Bama does. I would give Bama a slight edge there, especially with, like you mentioned, Jam and Keenan coming back. And I think we have slightly better roster. I think you could pick out some key positions to say they're even, and maybe Georgia's got a little bit of an edge at a couple of positions, but we certainly have an edge at a few positions too. Slight edge overall to Alabama.
I would call it a draw to slightly favored to Bama. Our wide receiver room's better than theirs, no doubt. They got two really high-level wide receivers. We got like 7. Tight ends, they've got a good tight end. We've got 2 good tight ends. On the defensive backs, I like our defensive backs better. Georgia's probably better on the defensive line and linebackers than we are. O-line, I think our O-line is slightly better than theirs. They have better running backs than we do, and I think we got a better quarterback. So I think it's we're not outmanned, but they're not really outmanned. There's a bunch of NFL players on both sides of the field. So it's going to be fun. I mean, it's good on good.
Yeah.
We can win this. They do not have more talent than we do. We can win this
We're
game. We can win this
win it.
game.
Yeah.
Next thing, Bama run game versus the Georgia defense. What are you guys thinking?
Man, I'm favoring Georgia's defense on that.
Yeah, this is a weird year because we're playing Georgia and both teams have running back by committee and don't really have, neither team has a superstar running back. We'll see what Jam can do when he gets back. So it's an interesting question, but I would tend to agree with T-Pain. I think you got to give the edge to Georgia there.
Yeah, I give them an edge, but I think we need to be aware of what alignments Georgia's in. And if they go with that 3-3-5 like Florida State did and say, we'll give you 3 to 8 yards, we got to take it. We got to take the runs, we got to take the short passes and be cognizant of that. And I think we can move the ball on them, but don't try to run it when they give us an 8-man front. We need to do play action or we need to throw the ball. We just need to be very aware of how they're lining it up, and we need to take what they give us. But I think we can move the ball very well against them. We just can't be stubborn on we're going to run the ball or we're going to pass the ball, take what they give us. How about the Bama pass game versus the Georgia defense? That's got me licking my chops.
Bama.
Again, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Alabama. I think.
Yeah. Just contingent on Ty having time to throw. I think we can put up a lot of numbers in that scenario, pass game.
And look, I don't know, Joey Aguilar is a good quarterback. He put up 371 yards on Georgia up in Knoxville. Ty's going to have a big game because I think Ryan's going to call a good game, and I think we have the edge there.
I love it. I love our advantage there. We just need to be aware of when they put 5 and 6 men in the box, run the ball or throw short passes and get the quick yards, keep the ball moving. And hey, it's not bad if we eat the clock. I still don't know why after FSU, what was it, an 8-minute drive, we go down and score. They come back down and score, and then the running game went out the window, and we just got stubborn on passing the ball. And their alignment was to stop us. They didn't care that we got to the 40-yard line. They just would stop us from there. So I hope Ryan Grubb learned his lesson and takes what the defense gives him, because we can pick them apart and be surgical if we'll do that.
Yeah, I was watching this podcaster or YouTuber called The Film Guy. I don't know if y'all seen him or not, but he was breaking down a little bit of the Georgia-Tennessee game. And the Tennessee receivers were running fairly open, okay? And I feel like our receivers, we have more of them than Tennessee does, and as good, if not better. So I really feel like we'll have guys open. And so it's going to be a matter, does Ty have time? If he does, he's going to hit them.
We've got more better receivers, but Chris Brazel
He's amazing.
He's dynamite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who you going to double? Who you going to double on Alabama? Somebody, and we got enough guys that can get open in single coverage. Who you going to double? Good luck. So if we scheme it up right, we're going to move the ball. We're going to score points.
Yeah.
And I hope the lesson was learned from Florida State. And all right, enough on that. How about the Georgia run game versus the Bama defense?
I would say we have a slight edge, and the reason for that, they just they haven't demonstrated they can run the ball very well. They don't have a running back in the top 20 in the SEC. Nate Frazier is their top running back. He's not even the top 20. I think, having Keenan back, our linebacker core, Deontay is doing Deontay things, Jefferson, Quay, Pierre. I think we have the edge there.
I'd say it's a push, and only because I just don't have a lot of faith in the coordinator yet to put us in the right positions. But I think we have the talent, Gary. I think we have the talent to win this. But I don't know. I'd call it a push.
So I think they have a two-headed monster. I think Frazier's good, and that McCoy's a load. I don't know if you watched in overtime. They effectively ran the ball down Tennessee's throat late in the game. So, Rick, to your point, Kane has got to be willing to put 7 and 8 guys in the box if they start pounding the ball. I don't mind giving them the runs between the 40s, but when they get inside the 40, we're going to have to put 7 and 8 guys in the box. That 6-man line isn't going to cut it, and they're going to gash us. So is he willing to do that and go instead of 4-2, is he willing to go 5-2 or 4-3 or 4-4 and put guys up there, because they have 2 quality running backs. But you're right, they don't have that one guy. They don't have a James Cook back there, but those guys are good. Frazier's good, McCoy's good, and they're different because Frazier's more of that slashing fastback, and McCoy's a load. He can hit hard. So I'd give him a slight edge, but I think it just depends on Kane. If he schemes us up right, I think we can stop him. Georgia pass game versus the Bama defense.
Bama defense.
Gary, did we lose you? Can you hear us? He may have dropped out. I'm with you. I'm with you, Rick. I like the Bama defense on that one.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the special teams. What do you think?
I don't know. I just know our kicking is not stellar. Our punting is not bad. We did give up 1 touchdown. Was it last week or the week before on kickoff? Partly because we were backed up. I understand.
Yeah.
but I haven't seen Georgia enough to know, John. So I would just say a push on that.
Yep. The only thing I'm worried about is I think that their field goal kicker's decent, so I would have more confidence in their guy having a range of 50 plus, whereas I'm not sure we can do. There he is. You're back. All right, we're on special teams. Do you want to weigh in on Georgia pass game versus Bama defense?
The pass game against our defense, I didn't have the luxury of hearing what you guys said because Marriott's Wi-Fi went out again. I think I'm going to switch to Hilton after this. But in any event, I would call that a push. I love our DBs, Keon, Bray. I mean, we've got some really good playmakers as DBs. I think it's going to get down to the pressure that we can put on Gunner, and I'd like to see London make some plays. I would call it, let's call it a push. Now I'm curious what you guys said though.
We both gave Bama we think that's one of our strongest positions is our pass defense, and we gave Bama the edge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. And then we got special teams. Rick said it was a push. I said slight favor Georgia. What's your thoughts, Gary?
Yeah, I'm not. What I'm afraid of is that we're going to be in a position needing a 51, 52 yarder late in the game to win it, and Talty's not going to be able to seal the deal. I don't know that much about Georgia's kicker other than I've seen his stats, and I don't think he's missed one. So I would give them the slight edge on that.
Okay. All right, next topic, which is key, quarterback advantage.
Ty.
Bye.
I agree, Ty. He's just been surgical. He's been great. He's more reliable, and he can run. He's a dual threat quarterback. So I think we're all down with that. All right, here's some questions to ponder, and then we'll make our predictions and wrap it up. All right, question number one, can Bama control and limit Gunner Stockton as a dual threat quarterback?
I would say it depends on how you define limit. So, if you say limit, we got to keep them under 250 yards. I would say no, we're probably not going to limit him. He passed for, I think, 304 against Tennessee. I think we've got probably a better defense than Tennessee or close. So I think our offense is going to have to produce a good chunk of points to win this game. So again, depends on your definition of limit. I think he'll be productive. He'll get maybe 3 passing touchdowns. If you call that limiting him, then sure, we limited him.
I guess my qualification would be, is he going to embarrass us like Castellanos did?
No.
Okay.
Way.
Rick, comments on that question?
No, I'm with Gary. I think if I read it that way, we will keep him from embarrassing us. I don't think he'll be the reason they win.
I'm in agreement with you. Well, to me, it's what does Kane do? Is
Right.
Kane multiple and varied? Is he able to handle that wheel route? Are we able to handle the reverses and the stuff they're going to pull on us? Do we do press coverage on 3rd and 11 on their speediest receiver with no help over the top? If we can avoid those things, I think we can limit him and not get embarrassed. But has Kane learned his lessons? How about Bama stopping the Georgia running game? Can we limit them enough so that they don't put up 250 yards and do what Oklahoma did to us, which is, embarrassed us last year?
It depends, right? It depends on, like you said, what Kane does. But yes, we can.
Gary?
I agree. They, understand what you said about McCoy. They don't have an elite rusher, neither do we yet. So I think we can force Gunner to have to make plays to put points on the board, and that may be the game plan just because of the strength of our DBs.
How about Bama running the ball against Georgia? What do you guys think?
Yes, we can.
I'm more hesitant on that. We haven't had a breakout rushing game yet. What I'm waiting for is someone to step up, right? I mean, Kevin Riley showed, a couple of flashes. If you look at AK Deer, because of a couple of breakout runs, his average per rush is some kind of gaudy number or whatever. And Richard Young, I would say hasn't really done much. Honestly, Daniel, I think has been kind of a disappointment if we're kind of laying our cards on the table. So
Are
this
you saying my
episode,
Daniel Hill prediction was that bold prediction was bad?
you still got several games left to be right.
Yeah, I
But
missed that one badly.
Jam got a lot of praise in the spring and the fall camp, and I know he's coming back from injury. But if he's truly 100%, he could be great.
I would make this a little bit of pushback, T-Pain. He also preseason last year, was going to do all this stuff, and I don't
Yeah,
know, game
that's true.
time is a different ball game. So
Right.
I think we can run the ball effectively if we commit to doing it and aren't stubborn about throwing the ball every time. And use the short passing game and running the ball. And again, it depends on the alignment that George is in, but we need to be very cognizant of how are they lining up and what are they doing. Then we got to take what they give them and not just try to force throwing the ball on those intermediate long passes. So I think we can run the ball effectively when needed, when they give us the right looks. I'm confident in that.
can I, Ben John, I'm going to add one little thing there. We can't let Georgia win the time of possession battle like they did against Tennessee. That
Right.
they had the ball on offense 39 minutes against Tennessee. If they have the ball on offense 39 minutes against us, we lose the game. And
Oh yeah.
so I think this who can run the ball is going to be very important.
Well, and I think that short passing game also eats up clock. So if you can run the ball effectively and then use the short passing game, quick hitters, that Tom Brady kind of thing, and we've got the receiver, we got Brooks. If you have Williams on the outside, Horton, Jeremy, all of those guys can get the quick passes and keep the chains moving, and that keeps our defense off the field. So we got to do that effectively. So I'm optimistic that we can run the ball when needed, but if they're putting 8 men in the box, throw the ball, burn them over the top. Let's do it. Take if you can get a guy wide open downfield, take the quick hitter. Now that puts your defense back on, but we got to take what they give them if they want to do that. So I'm optimistic. All right, how about Bama throwing the ball effectively against Georgia like Tennessee did?
I think so. I'll jump in here, and I like what you said about the quick and intermediate throws. We talked about Ryan bringing in some of the mesh concept from his time at Washington, having these shallow crosses and some flares. And I'd like to see Riley get involved from out of the backfield with some short passes as well. What I want to see though, and I think T-Pain kind of alluded to this a little bit. Ty has not shown that he's an elite deep ball thrower. He just hasn't. But when you get Ryan, if they're in man coverage, that run a post corner, run something where of course he made that a couple of amazing catches against Georgia last year. Give him a chance because and unless it's a terrible throw, it's going to be incomplete or Ryan's coming down with the ball. I'd like to see us test the long throw a little bit against Georgia.
We can get some PI calls too. I think you throw the ball deep. We can get some PIs and get in
Yeah.
a nice position. So yeah, throw the deep ball when it's there. And I think Ty is a good enough. I don't think he's going to pull a Jackson Arnold and overthrow the wide open guy. Because Jackson Arnold left 2 TDs on the field when he just overthrew the guy. Which is why Mateer was at Oklahoma, and why Jackson Arnold is now at Auburn. So any other thoughts about us throwing the ball effectively?
No,
I
but
will make one last one. Oh, go ahead, T-Pain.
no, I was going to say, like you said, throwing the ball deep. If you throw the ball deep to Ryan Williams, good things happen. That's it. PIs, something good happens.
I couldn't agree more. The last thing I was going to say is picking up on one of the episodes we did last week. Um, we need Ty's field vision to be a little better. And, he missed the opportunity to make some deep throws in the last game 2 weeks ago. That being said, between the hedges, night game, Georgia fans going to be going crazy. It's really going to be a test for Ty.
Yeah, it is.
Ty's our guy. He's up for it. Friend of the show, Ty. We got your back.
Absolutely.
All right, is the Bama passing game better than UT's passing game? Do we believe that we have a better passing game than them?
We have a deeper roster of elite wide receivers, and we have a smart quarterback. Like you said, his times accuracy, I think, is underrated. FSU game, if he was moving, he wasn't that accurate. He was moving the whole game because of our offensive line. I think he showed against Wisconsin, even though he didn't have a ton of deep throws, he puts it on the money now. And I think he's growing into this role. So I would say if you made it binary, would you take Aguilar or Ty? I would take Ty.
Rick?
Yeah, I just think, I know we're saying the same things over and over again, but yeah, we have deeper receivers, more good ones, and I love Ty, and I really trust Ryan a lot, Ryan Grubb. So I feel like I would take our passing.
I'm with you guys. All right, and the next question, is Ty better than Aguilar? I think he is. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this is the last question, then we're going to make our predictions. Can the Bama coaches make in-game adjustments to counter what Georgia adjustments will be on both offense and defense? Do we have that capability to win the chess match and do that throughout the game?
Do we have the capability? Yes. Have they shown it? No.
I would say this is rephrasing an earlier question of who has the coaching edge, and I think Georgia does overall. I think ROC has the edge, but I would say overall, think about how many high pressure, big time games Kirby has been the head coach of the Georgia program. He's performed, 33 home games. A lot of those were against really good opponents, high stress, where they were maybe down a little bit at halftime, whatever. I would say I would give the edge to them. Even if we can make some adjustments, I think their ability to adjust, especially if they're down in a hole like last year, is probably a little stronger than ours.
That, to me, that's a key thing because I really do think these are two fairly evenly matched teams. It's going to be a great game. Can we make the coaching moves we need to and keep our players focused and not hang them out to dry with some bad schemes? So that it's going to come down to that to me.
Hey, I'll make a bold prediction, not about a score, but I think, remember that double reverse that we threw back to Ryan Williams last game? I think they're setting that up for a huge play Saturday night. Something off of that.
Love it.
I hope so. All right, guys, you guys ready to make a prediction on the game? Who's going to win?
I'm ready. You ready, G Money?
That's like asking Nick Saban, is Alabama going to win? Come on, we're the amateur hour.
All right, let's go with the score and who's going to win. Everybody go.
I'll step up first. I think Bama wins. I think the final score when the dust settles will be Bama 41, Georgia 38.
I like it.
I had 44-37.
I like it. I've got 35-31 Bama. I'm going to be optimistic. I think we can do it. I think our coaches have been humiliated. They've learned their lesson. They're ready to go on the road and get their first big, because I don't count the LSU as a big SEC win. It was a good win, but this would be much bigger than winning at LSU. Bigger test. I'm excited. We're going to do it. All right, parting shots.
I'll give one. Let's keep up the great no turning the ball over. We're going to
Amen.
We're going to need that in Athens.
Amen. Rick, parting shots.
Yeah, no turnovers, and let's stay on schedule. And I would like for one game for us to have less penalties than the other team. Just one game. This game.
I like that one too. All right, guys. Thanks for jumping on here for me tonight. Thank you all for listening. Wherever you're listening, like, follow, give us good ratings, give us good comments. God bless and roll tide.
Roll tide.
Roll tide. See ya.